Halifax has a rich heritage of historic buildings, and the Civic Trust has a keen interest in protecting and enhancing them. Many of our historic buildings date from the 19th century, when the town was expanding rapidly. But Halifax also has a considerable number of buildings from earlier periods. One example, of which we all feel very proud, is the Peace Hall, a truly unique building which is now the sole survivor of the Great Northern Cloth Halls. Its stunning renovation over recent years has won many awards, and it now operates as a thriving cultural and commercial centre. Sadly, some of our historic buildings have been left unoccupied for some time, and these are now at risk. One example is OVENDEN Hall, originally built as the home of a wealthy cloth merchant. Now, having been empty for several years, it has been badly vandalised and has sadly been subject to heritage crime. In March 2019, the Trust set up a subcommittee to focus on heritage at risk. This subcommittee would systematically monitor what was happening with each heritage building at risk and would regularly report back to the committee, providing an opportunity for members to have an input and to decide any action the committee might wish to take. Members of our subcommittee chose to begin by first getting a better idea of all of the heritage sites in our area. We used Historic England's website to find all our listed buildings, and we were astounded to find there were roughly 380 of them. Perhaps one of our best known listed buildings is Shibden Hall, the home of the now famous Anne Lister, also known as Gentleman Jack from the TV series. Shibden Hall, along with all our other listed buildings, is now included in a spreadsheet on our website. Our next task was to determine which of our listed buildings were at risk. We considered each of our Grade 1 and Grade 2 star listed buildings, but investigating the condition of over 300 Grade 2 listed buildings was way beyond our capacity. It was clear that we would have to enlist the help of the general public through social media. And so we now have an active Facebook page and Twitter account, and our recently revamped website informs readers about how they can help us. The poor condition of some of our heritage buildings had regularly been raised for discussion at committee meetings for a long time. We included all of these in our at-risk list. One of them was Harrison House, built as the headquarters of the Halifax Literary and Philosophical Society and frequented by none other than Anne Lister of Shibden Hall. This building, unoccupied for some years, has some very interesting internal features, such as the original library shelves, original fireplaces, and a tiered lecture theatre, which we are hoping will all be saved when the building is developed. Currently, we have 27 heritage buildings on our at-risk list, and photos and a written summary for each of these can be seen on our website. These 27 have formed the basis of our regular monitoring work. We have devised a rolling programme of work whereby each month, each subcommittee member reviews a small number of designated heritage sites, taking action to determine what, if anything, has happened since they were last reviewed. We have been monitoring the situation at the Theatre Royal, which has been empty for years, and we were heartened that plans to transform it into a hotel, retaining and renovating the beautiful facade, seemed about to be put into action. However, we've recently been informed that the owners, who are concerned about the looming economic crisis, are considering whether to put it back on the market. To determine what, if anything, is happening with a heritage building at risk, we may attempt to contact Calderdale Council's conservation officers. HOPWOOD Lane Triangle, a collection of Georgian buildings which are at risk, is one such example. But over recent years, the team of conservation officers has been reduced from 5 full-time staff to 2 part-timers. They are very overstretched, and we frequently have difficulty in contacting them or in getting responses to emails or telephone messages. This situation has been further exacerbated by the Council's work in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And now it seems that the number one priority for the conservation officers is their work relating to the local plan. So we have to look elsewhere for information. In this case, a local councillor was able to update us about a project group working on possible options. Sometimes we find it more useful to contact the property owner, the architect, the agent, or the developer in order to gain new information. One example of this is India Buildings, a rather magnificent warehouse which has been empty and up for sale for some considerable time. Here, the agent is very helpful in updating us when we contact him about the prospect of finding a buyer. In our detective work, we also make use of planning applications, items in the local press, internet research, social media posts, and local knowledge gained through word of mouth. These can all be useful sources of information. We keep a careful record of all the actions we have taken and of all new information acquired. We report back to the Trust's committee monthly, and although the Trust has no power to compel anyone to act in order to save a heritage building, it can and does use its influence to apply pressure for action to save our rich and unique heritage.